Welcome loves to my YouTube channel. My name is VassaOlga. This video is going to be extremely different from what I usually do and whatever I usually film because you can tell it is a little bit different background. It is a little bit different setting. And in today's video and in my future 5 or even 6 videos, I'm not really sure for now, I'm going to be explaining, showing you guys and getting you through renovation we were able to get through. A month ago, right in the beginning of June, my husband, he got his vacation. So we had 2 weeks of vacation, and then I woke up once in the morning and I realized that it's time. It's time to say goodbye to our previous color, full of gray, and to say hello to some new design, some new renovation. I'm up to some cool ideas, and I needed to express them somewhere, at least in the room. That is the main reason why my husband didn't have much of a choice. So when he was around the house doing some other stuff, I was just more or less happy to take all of the stuff, personal stuff, to get it in a different room. And when my husband was back, so I was like, surprise, we're doing renovation. If you want to get through this ceiling, if you want to know how we were able to get the color on, how we saw the first coat and we didn't like it, and then the second coat and I really loved it, and how I was painting all of this stuff. By the way, I'm not a professional. We're not a professionals. That is the main reason why there are going to be some flaws in this room. There are going to be some flaws to the ceiling because, well, it was really hard and we had only 2 weeks. I was just not okay staying in the old room. That was the main reason why we just like, okay, we're not going to spend money. We're going to try to fix it real quick. We're short on time. That is the main reason why, yeah, there are going to be flaws. But overall look, the overall, the mirror frames, I love the window seal. I love the window frames. I love the color we picked for the baseboards. The small details that added more texture and more color and even coziness to the room. I love every single piece of it. So if you're ready to get into this journey with us, basically my husband and I, so please stay tuned. We're getting started. Okay guys, it's time to redecorate. I've been wanting to do this for so long. This was my closet area. We took every single piece of clothes from it, and then we have no ceilings. That's why we're going to put on some plywood on top with adhesiveness and then use wallpapers on top. Then this is a silk plaster wallpaper. Unfortunately, my crazy cat, always try to take it off, and she literally ruined this wallpaper with her claws. That is the main reason why we want to take it off and redo the wallpaper with a little bit different Roman clay. And then I will probably try to do something with the furniture, but so much later. For now, we need to do my frames. This is window frames. We have 2 of these window frames. This area used to be the working area, and this one is going to be my art wall. So for now, we have a lot of things to do, a lot of things to take down, and then later I'm just going to show you step-by-step routine. Okay, perfect with kids, really bad with the cats. What you're going to do, wet this wallpaper, silk plaster with water, and then just take it off. At first I'm using a spatula when my wallpaper or silk plaster is more or less wet, and take off this from the walls. I realized that it had a lot of eggshell, I believe it's eggshell, colored one, and we tried to use spatula. This one is iron spatula, I guess, to make sure that we don't have them over the wallpaper, because the next finish is gonna show every imperfections, which it does, but still we didn't know that. And later we had to clean the walls, and it took us the entire day to clean all this eggshells, but still we weren't able to clean every single eggshell from the wallpaper. That is the main reason why we still had some leftovers, but it was so much cleaner, so much better. Well guys, I can't say it is perfect. I mean, my walls, they're not perfectly clean. There's still some leftovers from the wallpaper, but so much better. We spent the entire day cleaning walls, taking off previous wallpaper, and tomorrow it's going to be the day for the plywood. We're going shopping and we're going to purchase some new decorative pieces, specifically Roman clay. And yeah, there's so much more things to do. So this is a plywood with no adhesiveness underneath, and your wallpaper is gonna peel off whenever you have nothing. It's bare plywood, so it's not gonna stick to it. Guys, you can choose any paint. It can be the cheapest one. You need only 1 coat. You don't really need 2 or 3 more coats. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's just to create the stickiness for your wallpaper. Guys, eventually you're gonna have something like this. We have white surface from the paint.
Okay, this is something that I wanted to share because when we were putting the first plywood, we literally got tired. You could see us laughing and smiling and giggling because we realized that we were tired not even starting the transformation of the plywood. That was the main reason why we were laughing so much. And I tried to help my husband as much as possible. You can tell it's plywood, but it turned out to be super heavy. That is the main reason why two of us were struggling to get us on. But thanks to my Pilates and my really strong husband, we managed to do that. I didn't have enough height. That was the main reason why we try to use some wood panel to hold the plywood, and we repeated the process over the entire ceiling. What we try to do is to use screws to make sure that it's in place. Used 3 or 4 of them first, and then I could release it as well as my husband could release it. And that was really, really hard. So the plywood was not even, and that was the main reason why I had to use a little bit different component later. I'm going to show it to you guys, but you can tell we try to even this out, but still was really difficult. Here I am filmed by my husband using putty, and I wanted to make sure the wallpaper, while it's wet, is not going to make the kreuzers turn coppery. That was my main concern, and the putty I thought would prevent it, and it did. Obviously, we don't really have this over the wallpaper. That's why I'm super happy. But with every hole and every unevenness between the plywood, again, we used putty and a construction tape or putty tape. I don't know how to explain it, guys, but I guess it's pretty obvious that whenever you go shopping, they're going to offer this thing because the putty can crack if you don't use this tape underneath. You can tell my husband was using the first coat of primer. It looks like a real paint, but it's not. As soon as you try to wash it with, I don't know, with water, it will come off. That is the main reason why it's primer. It's not a real paint. But I was finishing the ceiling, and later we managed to complete the work. You can see me when I was done with the ceiling. I continued with the second wall. My husband was on the other side of the room doing the first coat of this primer. Basically, that's it. That was it for the day 3, I guess, or maybe 2.
Okay guys, it's morning and this is the first coat of primer. This is a colored primer that has to be underneath the decorative plaster. And then I will show you that we have, this is pretty thick primer. It looks like paint, but it's not a paint. This is a colored primer. And underneath you can see a lot of patches. That's what we're gonna do the second coat. And this side, we had only paint underneath. That's why you can tell that it's so much better. You can spot a lot of patches. And from this side, with a rubber primer underneath for silk plaster wallpapers that we used to have before, it's not that good. You can tell that it's a lot of white coming through. That is the main reason why we need the second coat. And then this is the ceiling. It's not perfect, I know, but we had a lot of holes in between of this plywood. That's why I try to cover this entirely. And when we put on some wallpapers on top, it's not gonna be that visible. It's day 3, I guess, or maybe day 4. And by the way, we covered my door entirely with the same color. And then I'm gonna see you later, guys. Here's the difference. This is the second coat, and it's so much even, and the color is really beautiful. It's rich. And this is the color that has only one coat. That's the difference. You can tell you need second coat. Okay Okay guys, you can see the difference. This is a base coat. It's a little bit deeper shade than this one. It's a finish, decorative finish, which I really like. The way you can apply this, you're gonna grab the brush like that, grab a little bit of the decorative finish, and then you're going back and forth from left to right, from left to right. And then you don't really have to create anything even. Going like that. It has some sand grains, that's why it's going to create the finish of patches. The best example is probably Roman clay. And when you're pretty much done with the previous colors in probably 3 or 4 minutes, you can go with the same brush and it has no color on, and just going back and forth because you need the sand grains to be well distributed on top of the surface. You don't have to wait too long. It's just a little bit to get a grip of the surface, and then when you're ready, you're going back and forth again. But if you start any application, you have to start from the beginning of the wall and go back to the wall. You don't have to stop in the middle, because if it dries out, it's going to be super harsh line when you're going back with the same finish.
Keep in mind, if you started from the first corner of your wall, you have to finish your wall or it's going to look very weird. And then I want to finish today's tutorial / me showing you the paint of this transformation with me painting the shelves with the vinyl color that we picked for the sideboards, but later on that in the next tutorial. Love you little guys so much, and I'll see you next time.